Have you ever stopped to wonder why we fear certain parts of ourselves? Why does the mere thought of confronting certain feelings or experiences fill us with dread? What if I told you that the very thing you fear most is the gateway to your greatest strength? Fear isn't just an obstacle, it is the signal from your unconscious self guiding you toward the hidden aspects of your soul that are waiting to be unlocked. What if, instead of avoiding your darkest thoughts, uncomfortable feelings, and buried fears, you embrace them? What if facing the shadow within could transform you into a more powerful, authentic version of yourself? The truth is, the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide or deny, contains the energy, creativity, and wisdom we have long ignored. Confronting it is not a sign of weakness, but a courageous step towards self-discovery and personal power. This video will explore the path to transforming fear into power. By confronting the shadows in our hearts and minds, we begin a journey of self-mastery and transformation, unlocking the unseen strength within. If you're ready to face what scares you and step into your full potential, hit subscribe, give this video a like, and join me on this journey. The shadow self is not just an abstract concept, it is the hidden parts of your psyche that influence your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without your conscious awareness. These are the repressed emotions, unacknowledged desires, and suppressed traits you avoid because they seem too uncomfortable, threatening, or shameful to face. But here's the paradox. It is precisely these aspects that hold the key to your true power. Carl Jung, who coined the term the shadow, believed that the shadow is essential to personal growth. When we refuse to confront it, we remain stuck in patterns of self-sabotage, fear, and inauthentic living. When ignored, the shadow controls us, manifesting as anxiety, self-doubt, and projections onto others. When embraced, the shadow becomes a source of resilience, creativity, and clarity, unlocking the potential we've always had. The shadow is a mirror. It reflects the parts of ourselves we've hidden, feared, or rejected. It doesn't define us. It invites us to integrate the qualities we've pushed away. Facing the shadow is not about perfection, but about accepting the fullness of who we are, embracing both the light and the dark within. Fear is often seen as the enemy, something to avoid at all costs. But what if fear is actually a signal from the deepest parts of your psyche? What if the very thing you're afraid of is the doorway to your greatest strength? Jungian psychology teaches us that fear is not something to escape. It is an invitation to explore what lies beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. When we experience fear, it is often tied to the shadow, those parts of ourselves we've hidden away because they feel too uncomfortable, too powerful, or too vulnerable to confront. Fear points to the parts of ourselves that have been repressed or denied, the very areas that, if integrated, could unlock untapped potential. Think of fear as the ultimate guide. Instead of running from it, ask yourself, what is this fear trying to show me? What hidden power is waiting to be unleashed? Confronting our fears requires courage and curiosity. It is in facing fear head-on that we discover the depth of our true power, the creative energy and emotional resilience we've been keeping locked away. By choosing to engage with fear instead of avoiding it, you can transform it into empowerment, reframe it as an opportunity for growth, and step fully into your authentic self. The shadow is not just an abstract concept. It actively shapes the way we experience the world. When we ignore or suppress parts of ourselves, they do not disappear. Instead, they seep into our conscious experiences, distorting our perceptions, behaviors, and relationships. What we refuse to face within ourselves manifests externally, often in ways we don't recognize. Think about the patterns of behavior that repeat in your life perhaps moments of self-doubt, feelings of inadequacy, or reactions to others that seem disproportionate to the situation. These are often reflections of the shadow unacknowledged parts of ourselves that we project onto others. What we judge in others is often what we reject within ourselves, and in doing so, we remain trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage and disconnection. Jung believed that the shadow holds immense power. When we fail to integrate the shadow, it controls us from behind the scenes, influencing our decisions, thoughts, and emotional responses in subtle yet profound ways. Facing the shadow allows us to break free from these patterns, freeing up energy that was once tied up in resistance and fear. By embracing the fullness of who we are, we begin to experience life with clarity, authenticity, and a sense of empowerment. Understanding how the shadow shapes our reality is the first step to reclaiming control over our lives and aligning with our true potential. One of the most insidious ways the shadow influences our lives is through projection, the unconscious act of attributing our own suppressed traits or emotions onto others. When we fail to acknowledge parts of ourselves, we project them onto the people around us, often in the form of judgments, envy, or resentment. These projections distort our perceptions and create tension in our relationships. For example, if we have unaddressed anger or feelings of inadequacy, we may unconsciously project those feelings onto someone else, believing they are angry or inadequate. This distorts our view of the other person and causes unnecessary conflict. The truth is, what we dislike in others is often a reflection of what we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. Jung argued that projection keeps us stuck in patterns of disconnection, as we continuously project our shadow onto others rather than confronting it ourselves. The more we project, the more we reinforce our fears and avoidances, keeping us from true intimacy and understanding. By becoming aware of our projections, we can transform these patterns. Stop blaming others for our discomfort and start healing and integrating the parts of ourselves we have rejected. In relationships, taking responsibility for our projections allows us to form deeper, more authentic connections. It is only when we see others clearly, without the distortion of our own shadow, that we can truly experience love, empathy, and connection. Embracing the shadow is not an abstract concept. It requires conscious, deliberate effort. The first step in integrating the shadow is awareness. Begin by observing your thoughts, reactions, and feelings without judgment. The next time you feel triggered, pause and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What is this showing me about myself? This act of self-inquiry is the doorway to self-awareness and shadow integration. A powerful practice for shadow work is journaling. Write down your fears, projections, and emotional reactions. Explore the feelings and beliefs that lie beneath the surface. What do these reactions tell you about what you've been avoiding? By confronting your shadow in writing, you bring unconscious material into the light, allowing it to be processed and understood. Another important step is self-compassion. It's easy to approach shadow work with self-criticism or judgment, but doing so only reinforces the cycle of repression. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Remember, the shadow contains aspects of you that have been hidden away out of fear or shame, not out of malice. Integrating these parts requires love and acceptance, not force or condemnation. Meditation and mindfulness are also invaluable tools for shadow work. By cultivating a quiet space within, you can observe the shadow without being overwhelmed by it. During meditation, focus on breathing and becoming aware of your emotions and thoughts. Notice when certain feelings arise: anger, sadness, fear, and simply observe them. Instead of reacting, allow them to pass. This creates a space for integration, where you can acknowledge the shadow without being controlled by it. As you begin to integrate your shadow, you will feel a sense of wholeness and freedom. The more you embrace these hidden parts of yourself, the more aligned you become with your authentic self, and the more empowered you feel to live with purpose, clarity, and confidence. Shadow work is inherently paradoxical. At first, it might seem counterintuitive to embrace darkness in order to find light, but it's in the deepest recesses of the unconscious that the seeds of transformation are planted. By confronting the shadow, we uncover the very qualities, gifts, and insights that were hidden in the darkness. These are the aspects of ourselves that hold the power to heal, create, and evolve. When we avoid the shadow, we deny ourselves the opportunity to tap into these hidden resources. The more we resist, the more we reinforce our fears and limitations. But when we embrace our darkness, we realize that the light we seek was always inside us. It's the acceptance of the whole self-lit and dark that leads to wholeness and empowerment. This paradox can be unsettling because it asks us to relinquish control and face the unknown. We fear what we cannot understand, but in accepting the unknown, we find that the power to create, transform, and heal lies within the very thing we feared most. Embracing the shadow is a process of surrender, trust, and spiritual integration. It is through this paradoxical journey that we discover the true strength of our being. By accepting both light and dark, we find balance. And in this balance, we unlock our authentic potential that can only emerge when we allow ourselves to be fully seen, fully expressed, and fully alive. The shadow is not just a source of personal power, it is also a wellspring of creativity. When we hide or repress parts of ourselves, we cut off access to the immense creative potential that lies within those very aspects. Fear, doubt, and unresolved emotions often block the flow of creative energy. But when we engage with the shadow, we unlock new dimensions of inspiration and innovation. Creativity thrives on unconscious material, those hidden desires, dreams, and untapped potentials that are often dismissed by the conscious mind. The more we embrace the shadow, the more we allow these hidden forces to flow freely, shaping new ideas, projects, and expressions. Jung believed that the unconscious mind holds a key to creativity, and by integrating the shadow, we can access deeper layers of insight that fuel artistic and intellectual innovation. Often, our most creative ideas emerge from the discomfort of confronting our fears and vulnerabilities. These raw, unprocessed emotions hold a unique power to spark new ideas and solutions. By embracing the shadow, we allow ourselves to harness that energy, transforming it into creative expression. Shadow work provides the courage to create fearlessly, to express ourselves fully, and to explore new paths without being hindered by judgment or self-doubt. In this way, the shadow is not only a source of personal transformation, but also a catalyst for creative genius. The more we embrace and integrate the shadow, the more unlimited our potential becomes. Our capacity for creativity expands, and we begin to see the world through a new lens, where every challenge and every fear becomes an opportunity to innovate and express our authentic selves. Shadow work is deeply intertwined with spiritual growth. To truly evolve spiritually, we must face the parts of ourselves that we've ignored or rejected. Spiritual growth is not about being perfect or avoiding discomfort. It's about embracing the fullness of our being, both light and dark. The shadow holds the key to spiritual awakening, as it reveals the unseen patterns, fears, and limiting beliefs that hinder our connection to the divine and our higher purpose. When we avoid confronting our shadow, we create a barrier between ourselves and the deeper aspects of life. The shadow is a gatekeeper. It holds the lessons we need to learn and the wisdom we need to integrate in order to move forward on our spiritual path. By engaging with the shadow, we begin to clear the blockages that keep us from experiencing deeper peace, love, and alignment. Spiritual growth requires the courage to face the uncomfortable and the unknown. It requires a willingness to let go of old beliefs, attachments, and fears. When we engage with the shadow, we can transcend limitations, allowing the flow of universal energy to move through us. We begin to align with the truth of who we are, and in that alignment, we experience true spiritual freedom. Shadow work also fosters self-compassion, the acceptance of our flaws and imperfections. This acceptance is essential for spiritual growth because it enables us to release guilt, shame, and self-judgment. As we embrace the shadow, we come into alignment with the truth of our soul and deepen our connection to the universe, finding greater meaning, purpose, and inner peace. Shadow work is paradoxical. It asks us to embrace the darkness within, to step into the very parts of ourselves we've avoided or feared. But what if I told you that by embracing the darkness, you will find the light you've been searching for all along? The shadow is not the enemy. It is the untapped source of our power, creativity, and authenticity. The truth is, the more we face the shadow, the more we reconnect with the light within ourselves. This paradox can be unsettling because it challenges the conventional belief that in order to grow, we must reject or suppress our fears. But in reality, growth does not come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from moving through it. The shadow holds the secrets of transformation. By confronting it, we break free from the constraints of our limiting beliefs, fears, and insecurity. This process opens the door to a more authentic, empowered, and enlightened version of ourselves. The deeper we go into the shadow, the more we realize that the darkness is not a void but a reservoir of untapped potential. It is the alchemy of facing our fears and integrating them that leads to true personal transformation. The paradox of shadow work is that by embracing what we fear most, we are actually aligning ourselves with our highest potential. In the darkness, we find a lighter, most authentic, empowered, and free self. The shadow is not only a source of personal growth, but also a well of creative energy waiting to be tapped. The unconscious mind, where the shadow resides, holds the key to unlocking your creative potential. When we suppress or deny parts of ourselves, we block the flow of inspiration and innovation. However, once we engage with the shadow, we discover that the hidden aspects of ourselves can fuel incredible creative breakthroughs. Think about the moments when you feel stuck creatively. Often, it's because we are avoiding the parts of ourselves that are out of balance or repressed. These parts, fear, self-doubt, anger, shame, are not barriers to creativity. They are pivotal sources of inspiration. When you allow yourself to embrace these emotions rather than suppress them, they open the door to new perspectives, ideas, and innovations. The shadow contains the raw materials of creativity. Jung believed that the integration of the shadow is a deeply creative process. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, which ultimately leads us to more authentic and expressive forms of creativity. The more we embrace our shadow, the more we give ourselves permission to create without limitations and to explore new ways of thinking, being, and doing. When we integrate the shadow, we access not only hidden wisdom, but also the creative fire that fuels our deepest artistic and intellectual endeavors. Embracing the full spectrum of our inner world allows us to manifest our true creativity free of judgment, expectation, and fear. By welcoming the shadow, we give ourselves the freedom to create from a place of wholeness and power. Shadow work is not only about personal development, it is an essential component of spiritual growth. To evolve spiritually, we must face the aspects of ourselves that we've repressed or denied. These hidden parts soften, manifesting as fears, limiting beliefs, or unresolved emotional pain act as barriers between us and our spiritual essence. Only by confronting the shadow can we remove these barriers and align more fully with our higher self. Spiritual growth requires wholeness, the willingness to embrace all parts of ourselves, both light and dark. The shadow is not a source of evil or shame. It holds the key to inner peace and true spiritual freedom. When we deny the shadow, we create disconnection between our conscious mind and the deeper wisdom of our soul. By accepting and integrating our shadow, we unlock a deeper connection with the universe, allowing us to experience life more fully and authentically. The process of shadow work is not about achieving perfection, but about achieving wholeness. It is about embracing our flaws, our fears, and our unresolved issues, and recognizing them as part of our spiritual journey. This process leads us toward self-acceptance and enlightenment. When we integrate the shadow, we move closer to understanding the mysteries of our existence, the divine within us, and the purpose of our life. Embracing the shadow allows us to shed the illusions that prevent us from living in alignment with our higher consciousness. It is a path of spiritual liberation, where we transcend the limitations of the ego and connect with the universal flow of life. Shadow work is paradoxical. It requires us to step into the very darkness we've been avoiding, to confront the hidden, unacknowledged parts of ourselves. But what if the darkness we fear so much is the key to unlocking the light within us? This paradox is the essence of shadow work. The more we face the darkness, the more we illuminate the light within us. At first, it seems counterintuitive to embrace the very things we've spent our lives avoiding. We resist the shadow because it's messy, uncomfortable, because it forces us to confront our insecurities, fears, and pain. But in doing so, we miss the transformative potential hidden within the shadow. It is in embracing the whole self-light and undarted we find our true power. The paradox of shadow work is that healing and enlightenment are not found by avoiding discomfort. They are found by walking straight through it. The light we seek is hidden within the darkness we fear. By acknowledging and integrating the shadow, we begin to transcend our fears, allowing us to live authentically, with courage and clarity. We reclaim our power and creative potential from the very things we've been running from. The more we embrace the full spectrum of our being, the more we connect with the universal flow of life. By accepting the darkness, we transform it into a source of growth, creativity, and wisdom. The paradox is that by embracing what we feared, we unlock the light that's always been within us, ready to guide us toward greater self-awareness and spiritual evolution. The shadow is not only a source of personal transformation, it is also a well of untapped creativity. When we ignore or suppress parts of ourselves, we cut off access to our creative energy. The shadow holds aspects of our being that, when integrated, can fuel innovation, imagination, and artistic expression. By facing the shadow, we allow this creative potential to flow freely, transforming fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs into the raw material for creative brilliance. Many of us struggle with creative blocks, feeling that something is holding us back, but rarely do we consider that the shadow might be the culprit. The more we suppress or deny certain aspects of ourselves, the more they hinder our creativity. When we engage with the shadow, we release the hidden energy tied up in our unconscious mind, unlocking new possibilities for creative exploration. Jung believed that the unconscious mind is a vast source of creative power. The more we integrate the shadow, the more we open ourselves to a deeper flow of inspiration. By facing the discomfort and fears stored in the shadow, we can move through creative blocks and allow our true artistic expression to emerge. The shadow, when embraced, becomes a well of potential, full of ideas, solutions, and unique perspectives that were once hidden beneath the surface. By integrating the shadow into our creative process, we not only unlock our full potential, but we also tap into the deeper wisdom and intuition that guide our creative endeavors. The shadow, when fully embraced, reveals a new world of artistic freedom, where we can create without the limitations of fear or self-doubt. Shadow work is not only a powerful tool for personal development, but it is also integral to spiritual growth. To evolve spiritually, we must embrace and integrate the parts of ourselves that we've rejected or suppressed. The shadow holds the key to awakening. When we ignore or deny the shadow, we keep ourselves from fully aligning with our higher self and the divine flow of life. Only by facing the shadow can we remove the barriers that block us from living our true spiritual purpose. Spiritual growth requires honest willingness to embrace every part of ourselves, including the aspects we've hidden or neglected. The shadow is not inherently negative. It simply contains the unexpressed energy and untapped wisdom that can propel us toward higher consciousness. By integrating the shadow, we create balance within ourselves, aligning our ego with our deeper spiritual essence. The process of shadow work allows us to release limiting beliefs, dissolve emotional blockages, and connect with our authentic self. By integrating the shadow, we move closer to spiritual enlightenment. The more we embrace the shadow, the more we let go of fear, self-doubt, and the illusions that separate us from our highest truth. This integration brings a sense of peace, clarity, and alignment with the universe. True spiritual growth occurs when we stop resisting the darkness within and allow it to become part of our whole being. It is through the acceptance of the shadow that we unlock our true spiritual power and live in harmony with the world around us. Shadow work is, at its core, a paradox. It requires us to embrace the very darkness we have spent our lives avoiding. But what if I told you that by stepping into the very darkness we fear, we would discover the light we've been searching for all along? This is the paradox of shadow work. The more we confront the darkness, the more we unlock the hidden light within. When we reject parts of ourselves, we block the flow of healing and transformation. But by embracing those parts, the fears, the pain, the unresolved emotions, we create space for growth, insight, and freedom. The shadow is not evil, as many might think. It is simply the unconscious mind that holds the untapped wisdom, creativity, and power we need to live a more authentic life. The paradox lies in the fact that when we engage with the shadow, we transform fear into power. The more we accept these suppressed parts of ourselves, the more whole and empowered we become. It is by embracing the darkness, by stepping into the unknown, that we discover our light. Shadow work doesn't make us perfect. It makes us whole. When we step into the shadow, we realize that it was never something to fear, but something to integrate. By doing so, we step into a more authentic life, one that is aligned with our true spiritual power. The paradox is that by embracing what we fear the most, we unlock the true power that has always been inside us. If this journey of transformation resonates with you and you're ready to embrace your shadow, unlock your true potential, and live a life of authentic power, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. What part of your shadow are you ready to face? Let's walk this path of transformation together.